Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. After one of the most incredible nights of second-round drama we've ever seen in Sheffield, at last, the battle for the semis is upon us. And for the first time in 32 years, 4 qualifiers have made the quarters. 3 of them are about to grace this famous stage, along with a proven champion. Welcome to day 11 at the Kazoo World Snooker Championship. Please welcome a player looking pin-sharp and back to his best. After victories over Luca Bracel and Rob Milkins, he's in the quarters for the first time in 5 years when, remember, he came within a single frame of the final. He's been on a 1-month health kick to be ready for the big one. Lean, keen and ready to roll, he's Dave Gilbert. And his opponents, back in the quarters for the 4th time in 8 years after superb victories over Carter and Murphy. It's the best we've seen from him in several seasons. As tenacious as he is talented, the pride of Scotland, Stephen the Maverick Maguire. And now to the first player in 25 years to make back-to-back quarters on his first 2 visits to the Crucible. Beating last year's semi-finalist Si Jiahui in the second round, he always saves his best for Sheffield. Always calm, always composed. The silent assassin, Jack Jones. And finally, to the most decorated left-handed player in history, with 5 major titles this season alone. Emerging for his 10th quarter-final, 13 years after his first. Champion in 19, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only ace in the pack, Judd Trump.
Thank you. The first frame.
Good morning.
David
Welcome
Gilbert.
back to the World Snooker Championship, day 11. It's the Grateful 8 World Championship quarterfinals getting underway. 4 proven world champions, 4 aspiring to be one, and 2 of those facing off in this session. Stephen Maguire and Dave Gilbert. The best of 25 frames for a place in the semi-finals and the one-table setup. Fascinating encounter in prospect. Quite tough to call. And it's good morning to Neal Foulds.
Good morning, Philip, and everyone watching this very intriguing quarter-final match. In some ways, it's the most fascinating of the lot, because it's going to be a big occasion for whoever wins it to be in a semi-final here again. There would be an argument that both players might have never have been in this position, but one of them is going to progress to the one-table setup, which they've done before, but nothing on their recent form coming into this championship would have suggested they were about to do it again. So, very intriguing match. Hard to call, I think.
Yes, 2 players busy rescuing their seasons here at the World Championship. If Stephen Maguire had lost his first qualifier, he would have been looking at being down in the 40s going into next season in the rankings. Dave Gilbert has had a quiet couple of seasons as well, but they have a lot of class and a proven Crucible pedigree, of course, both semi-finalists before. Gilbert famously back in 2019 when he seemed to have the beating of the hero from last night. John Higgins was 5 frames ahead at one stage. Just pipped to the post. An emotional loss for him, and he hasn't really been able to touch those heights since then. He's had some near misses in big ranking finals. Of course, he has won the Championship League, but it's really good to see him queuing well here at the Crucible once again, and who knows what he may yet go on to achieve.
7.
Yeah, I mean, they're both very fine players who have just been kind of gone missing. You know, in some ways, Maguire is the sleeping giant, really, in snooker, because of what he either has achieved or was expected to achieve. Gilbert's always been a lovely player to watch when that cue action works, very elegant.
30.
And, you know, he got a bit of a lifeline on day one, didn't he, with the Luger-Basel victory. Probably shouldn't have won that match, but he did win 10-9. It was 9-6 down, and all sorts happened that suggested he wouldn't win. But we're seeing this tournament really come to life. You know, it is the morning after the night before, that extraordinary clearance on this very table from John Higgins. So now, I don't think we can know what to expect from here. Because it was John Higgins, wasn't it, as we've been saying, that put paid to
19.
Gilbert's chances. 2019 by that odd frame. It seems like John Higgins has done something like that to everybody at some point, doesn't it? It's a nice, neat start, this. And the pink. And a chance to disturb those 5 reds.
In contrast to the thrilling climax against Brissell, of course, it was a relative breeze against an out-of-sorts Rob Milkins in round 2 for Dave Gilbert. 13-4 he won. So coming into this match, feeling pretty fresh, I think. He's been looking after himself off the table, eating well, sleeping well.
26.
Trying to get himself in the best possible shape in order to have a real crack at this title. Not too much to go on in terms of previous meetings. 5 in all. Maguire has won 3 of them. And they haven't played since the Masters, which was their most high-profile meeting before today. That was back in 2020, which Gilbert won comfortably 6-2.
Well, I don't think he played on this red, but it's the one that gets in better position, this close red. I mean, the red to the right corner is quite simple, but, you know, it just looks awkward to get the cue ball out of that area onto a colour. So this is the better shot for that point of view. Oh, he's played it ever so well.
27.
He really controlled that nicely.
Different vibe about this match compared with Steve Maguire's meeting with Sean Murphy. We know they've got a very long history, not always a friendly rivalry, but these two get on well off the table.
$34.
Well, how's that stayed out?
Gilbert, 34.
It always looked top jaw, but you felt it would drop in, albeit not cleanly. You see it again. It kind of just hung at the top jaw and never found a way down, not even a millimetre. So that was a surprise. And he started so nicely that when he missed, it seemed unexpected.
1.
We saw a couple of missed pinks that cost Jack Lazowski dear in the other second round finale last night, which was somewhat overshadowed by extraordinary end to the Higgins-Allen match. But, of course, Stuart Bingham came through 13-11 in the end after it looked as though Lazowski was going 12-11 up from 10-7 down. Great win for Bingham. Champion, of course, 9 years ago. He now plays Ronnie O'Sullivan. The winner of this, of course, will play either Higgins or Kyron Wilson in the semis.
Well, it's just the worst imaginable kiss, really, isn't it?
7.
To hit half ball on that red and finish behind the red that was always going to be his backup ball. That red by the cue ball there. I mean, there is a red that goes to left middle, but it's a really tricky shot, this, I think. Pretty sure it will go past that other red. He doesn't want to play it, it seems. So if you don't fancy a shot, then you play safe, basically. Certainly shots players don't particularly like. That red to middle looked a little tricky.
Gilbert's got himself up to provisional 24th in the world. Of course, he's a former world number 10. He was at 31 coming into this championship. Both of these players guaranteed 50,000 points for getting this far. Could have done without the cannon on the brown. It's an opportunity for Gilbert to get back in. Crikey. That missed by many a mile. That's why so many things ended up moving. Just have to forget about that one as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and he won't, though, because it's quite difficult when you play those long pots. You realise the importance of them, and if not potting them, getting close enough to bring about some confidence. Missing by that far, you're not necessarily looking forward to your next one.
Two really intense matches for Maguire since arriving at the Crucible. Ali Carter in the first round, that really was a real tussle, which he came through. And Sean Murphy, given the history between them, lots of passion in that match. Both players showing their emotions at times, not least Maguire when he won the key frame at the end of the second session when it looked like being a 9-7 scoreline, but he pinched it for 10-6. Wrapped the table with his knuckles, big fist pump. But he played some great safety in that match. I think that was the difference, really. He kept Murphy on the back foot throughout. Really good match play from Maguire. As confirmation, good figures for Maguire in terms of his safety. Hardly anything to choose regarding pot success. Gilbert a bit better with the long ones, although not in this frame.
Just wonder if he can play the double here, you know, if the black goes to the right corner. Yeah, well, I think he did play it, although not close. Either way, I think the black might go to the right corner. It's tight. If the black isn't available, he wouldn't have played the double, so remains to be seen.
Pretty similar stats all round, and I think the general feeling ahead of this match was it was difficult to call. Both players have obviously been playing very well. Both have experience of coming through quarter-finals here at the World Championship. Maguire, twice a semi-finalist.
When he's thinking about playing the plant, which looked very complicated, and of course, in playing the shot he did there, has to be said that he was leaving up plenty had it not gone in. Now he's got another difficult shot to take on.
Wow, what a big fluke that is.
That really is a big fluke, as you say. I mean, you kind of saw it happening, didn't you? It kind of arced its way down that line. And it was one of those shots, you miss it, you're meant to be punished.
7.
I mean, flukes happen, and sometimes they're a complete irrelevance. You know, if we're talking about 12 all now, and that this frame unfolds in that way, and that fluke happens on the blue, we're saying it's like a monster fluke. But ultimately, in frame one, it has the same meaning, doesn't it? You know, it's a fluke that is a game changer. Certainly a frame changer anyway.
$13.
I suppose if he could have it again, that shot, he'd hit it harder and he'd try and make Reds move more than he did.
David Gilbert, 18.
.45 the lead, still 67 on the table.
He tried to sneak the cue ball in behind the brown. Had he done so snugly against the brown, it would have been a horrid snooker to hit. As it happens, he's left a shot at these Reds, albeit with no easy safety shot back. Certainly not to bulk anyway. Maybe a containing shot, just rolling up to these Reds or something. Something that would send the cue ball to this end of the table. That's not good. That is not good at all. It's a containing shot that has got zero containment about it.
One.
Well played. That was certainly missable, and we've seen plenty rattle in the jaws of these corner pockets throughout this championship, but that was bang on.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Very clean. Again, that's what he sort of... Very good player. He just looks good, doesn't he? And, of course, I suppose that black was not dissimilar to the red to the opposite corner pocket of John Higgins last night, which was a beautiful shot. But that is unbelievable.
David Gilbert, 9.
What a miss. I think that might be the miss of the whole lot for the championship. You know, I mean, they're doing 0 with the cue ball. Yes, there's a bit too many in it, but it's one snooker. That's all it is. An extraordinary miss.
1.
How on earth did that stay out?
Eight. Nine.
Well, this is the green, and just seemed a formality to absolutely kill the frame off. Now he's sweating a bit because it's only the one snooker.
Yeah, I mean, I seeing it again. I honestly have no idea how he missed it. Other than the fact that I suppose there's no such thing as a certainty unless the ball's just teetering on the edge of the pocket.
Sixteen. Stephen Maguire, 16.
Well, after the miss on the green from Gilbert, that right corner pocket out of commission. So this frame might still have quite a bit of life in it. Maguire looking for the snooker he needs to get back into contention. And that's a very good safety. Red out in the open. There's a concern now for Gilbert, who seemed to have this frame absolutely nailed down.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a nice snooker to be hitting. And one of the reasons for that is because the red is so centrally in the table, if it's close to a cushion, often you're going to either hit it, you know, either directly or one or two cushions, or the third cushion, which is the one it's closest to. But now, he's not even got his eye on the red. This is very, very missable. Really good shot, that. I always used to think that when you're looking away from the ball you're trying to hit, it's hard to get the perspective. Could be another one. You know, in behind the brown's very possible here. And with the yellow and blue, as we've said, you know, that is a nice target to get behind. He's gone the other way. Goodness, he's gone behind the black. He's missed a trick there, I think. I think if I was David Gilbert here, I'd be getting this red off the cushion and trying to move the yellow and blue away from each other, because that would make the target smaller to get the snookers behind. Well, Gilbert has not got an easy pot at this red. I think he looks like he's just pushing the red across towards the green, which is a kind of dangerous game, really, isn't it? Does he really want to be involved in this? He might have got a snooker or near one, but even then, there might be the smallest of gaps, but even then he's got to play out of the snooker, I feel. Again, not taking the pot on, playing the snooker himself. Slightly dangerous shot that. The pink had gone onto the green, knocked the green in. Now is the moment when he finally can clinch this first frame.
Nearly 26 minutes long in the end. It could have been over a while ago. But it is over now. Relief for Dave Gilbert.
One.
It was a poor safety from Maguire that initially let Gilbert back in to get the points he needed to leave Maguire requiring a snooker. So quite a scrappy frame in the end, but great frames to win in these long matches at the Crucible. The tight ones.
4 on frame. David Gilbert.
Steve Maguire remains in his chair. So Dave Gilbert off and running in this quarter-final. He leads Steve Maguire 1-0.
Stephen Maguire to break.
Not sure we can get through to that red. It appears that if he can, even with the black not available and the pink tough to get on, there's nothing there. The left-hand red, of course, but he's not going to be playing that. So, at the moment, I don't think Gilbert can complain he's having a bad rub of the green. He got an important fluke in that frame. It's only the beginning. But things going slightly towards Gilbert.
Maguire made his Crucible debut 20 years ago, lost to Ronnie O'Sullivan. And then again, the following year, albeit that one went to the wire. And then his first semi-final in 2007, and a match he looked like winning against John Higgins going into the final session. He was 14-10 up. Higgins turned it around in the deciding session. I think that loss set him back for a while, actually, because at the time he was looking very much like a world champion in waiting. It's not happened for him. Got back to the semis in 2012 when he lost to Carter. And here he is, 12 years later, looking for his third appearance in the last four.
It's almost like one of those trick shots where you expect something to eventually go in somewhere. It's a good cue ball, though. I think that was the key. He played the white ball to a very safe place.
Just about room for Gilbert to get through to that red. It was good cueing off the cushion, particularly as there was a big wave of applause on the other table. And that was for a really good steal from Jack Jones, by the way. From a long way down to level with Judd Trump at 1-all. Another tester from mid-range. Seems to be cueing very nicely, Gilbert.
It's a really good shot, isn't it? Really good shot, the way he played it. Yeah, he brings that cue right back. You know, he lets the kind of cue do the work. If you think of maybe a cricketer where you say that sort of let the bat just go through the ball. It's the same with Gilbert's style. He doesn't. I'll give you an example of a player that he's not like Ryan Day, who kind of almost thrusts himself into shots. And in the case of Gilbert, he just lets that cue glide through the ball. And when it's working, it's very pleasing to watch him play.
10. $11. $18. 19.
Thank you, the third.
26. Thanks. David Gilbert, 26.
Well, he'd be disappointed not to have carved out a few more than that from that opportunity.
Nicely executed cross double from Maguire to get himself in. Of course, it was a double that launched John Higgins' brilliant 71 clearance last night, which he rated as his greatest ever, and that's saying something. He's made so many of them in big matches, not least the Masters in '06 in the decider against O'Sullivan. So this looks like
6.
a decent chance for Maguire to get his cue arm going. The first frame was a bit disjointed. Couldn't have hit the pink any better there.
Seven.
He's made 8 centuries in all, getting to this quarter-final from qualifying. Beat Ashley Hugill and then Yuan Sejun to get to the Crucible, and then, of course, Ali Carter 10-7, Sean Murphy 13-9.
15.
Yes, so at the time, perhaps Gilbert would be annoyed that he didn't make more of the chance he got. But now that it's Maguire, his first meaningful opportunity of this quarter-final. He played very well, I thought, against Sean Murphy. Slightly overrun that.
20.
Good way to get in. Very solid double, wasn't it? The keel racing in and out of bulk. But the last shot, slightly annoyed by. He's gone just a bit too far for this red to be comfortable on it.
He's missed 3 with the rest in this tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a decent rest player. He's not anywhere near the best, but I think he's okay. Got 3 reds near cushions here, which at some point you'll need a piece of that. The reds in the middle of the table can't get him over the line.
$27. 28. $35. 36. $43.
Yeah, I mean, if he was any straighter on this, it'd be an easy shot to play on the pink. It's just a little bit of an angle, so does that mean he's got to go up the table for the blue? No, he can just hold.
44.
And this is where the fun starts in a way, because he's got to just get a couple of more reds into play or get on them, following the one that's there now. He looks good, doesn't he? He looks intense. All the things that make Maguire and have made him a good player for 2 decades. The intensity is back. That's
51.
nice. That's nice. it was right over the pocket, he could afford actually to play the pink and open the other two reds. But because that left-hand red's not quite over the pocket, then he can't be sure of anything really as far as it becoming available. If the cue ball finishes where that top red is of the two on the right, then that red to the left middle would be a difficult shot.
$57.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, said at the time that you might want to move the two reds, and I think he tried to, but the cue ball went between them. So now, with a very slight angle, and only a slight angle on this blue, I don't quite know how he gets on either red. Certainly not from the blue, maybe from the brown, punching the cue ball around the angles. It's a kind of shot, I think if he was to play it, I suspect he'd get it, but you have to really force this to do anything with it. Oh, goodness, I'm not sure what he was hoping for there. Because he could have run through and finished there.
63.
So the frame's not dead. 37 in it, two reds left. It's been a terrific break, but it
Make sure
isn't quite
mobiles are
enough.
switched off, please, or on silent.
The mobile has gone off despite Rob Walker absolutely imploring people not to have them on.
He's muttering away, Maguire. I think a combination of the irritation of that mobile, but also the fact that he's still one pot away from making this frame safe, barring Snookers. And he's not on one of these reds. Colours on their spot, so that lead may not count for a lot.
Stephen
If
Maguire,
Gilbert gets in
63.
next. 37 in front, 43 there. You've got to go back to 2020 for the last time Stephen Maguire lifted ranking silverware. It was a very lucrative week for him, the Tour Championship. For then the top 8 on the one-year list, which he wasn't supposed to be in, but Ding couldn't travel from China. Walked away with the first prize, won the series bonus and the high break prize as well. Netted over $250,000 that week. Played superbly. He made 6 centuries against Neal Robertson. Beat Mark Allen in the final.
Yeah, of course, that was deep in lockdown, wasn't it? Not a soul there in Milton Keynes. Yeah, as you say, the original Tour Championship, the players assembled just before the coronavirus pandemic hit, and Ding was part of it, as you say. So it's kind of a big turnaround the fact that it took place at all, but with a different player in it who won it. So remarkable, actually.
Maguire nowhere near clinching this frame yet. Now snookered on the remaining reds, which are open. The colour's all there, so he's got to be careful, otherwise Gilbert will be in to steal.
I don't know what he played, quite honestly. I'm surprised he used all that force. Now, he hasn't left an easy starter, but should this go in, as Philip has said, you know, there is a counter-attack in the offing if the red drops here. And he's not pleased.
One.
That's all he could do. He'd like to have been on the red into the opposite corner pocket.
7.
But now that he is, and there's not much angle here, again, he's got to be accurate and try and get the cue out away from the cushion a little bit for his next high-value colour.
Eight.
Oh, what a terrific bit of cueing that was, goodness me. At that pace, you have got to be 100% accurate into these corner pockets. That's the shot of the morning, I reckon.
Totally agree. Very good. And it'll be even better if it leads to him winning the frame.
Can you please double check your mobiles are switched on silent, please?
Well, it's a real pain in the proverbial, isn't it? These mobile phones. So much at stake, particularly
14.
now we're down to the last 8 players. This is such a huge deal for these two players. They've both been out of form the last couple of seasons. A transformative run in the offing for one of them. What a chance for Gilbert to pinch
16.
a frame. He looked like losing. Second close frame. And they could both be going Gilbert's way.
$19. $23.
As ever, brown to blue can be the big shot, because if you get the right angle on the blue, then really blue to pink is a formality. Not quite a formality when you're straight. I mean, he should pop this, but he knows in his heart he shouldn't be this far away from the pink And of course he has to play on the black, which has been over there away from its spot for the entirety. This is very missable now. Goodness me.
34.
Fancy hitting the black on the way through. An acute one to left middle, and the middles are not big. Just got to try and sneak it into the left middle pocket here. Play gently. Either that or play safe.
What a clearance from Dave Gilbert. The red was outstanding, and the black was also very nicely executed. A big steal and a great start for Gilbert, who leads Stephen Maguire 2-0. A perfect start for Dave Gilbert, a frustrating one for Stephen Maguire, who could have won both frames that we've seen, and will feel he probably should have won the previous one, but found himself snookered. And the problem Maguire had was that there was nothing safe to save him. The colours were wide out in the open, and having missed the snooker with something of a hit and hope, it was a great clearance from Gilbert. So 2-0, the Glaswegian under early pressure, travelling with his dad Pat at this championship, who I think is helping him stay focused. He admitted that he drowned his sorrows quite extravagantly last year when he lost in qualifying to Fan Zhengyi. Gilbert has been, to some extent, preoccupied with his club, Potters in Swaddling Coat, which I think has been quite an all-consuming project at times over the last couple of seasons, and maybe goes some way to explaining why his snooker hasn't quite produced in the way it did before.
What a beautiful shot. It's funny because he hits the ball well. The cue sometimes goes up in the air a little bit after he hits it. Not that that should matter. It's a bit off-putting. You watch the cue. He kind of leaves his bridge. But I suppose the important thing to watch is not the cue. The ball crashing into the back of the pocket. Well, it looked for a long way as if that was just going to bury itself amongst the three reds. But actually, he's hit them hard enough to nudge that red out.
Five. Ten. $11. 17.
Thank you, the fourth. Just from
18. 24.
The Blacks obviously out of commission, but it's a chance for Gilbert to push on after pinching the second frame so impressively. Terry Camilleri replacing the pink.
Yeah, I think Terry Camilleri actually arrived after the first week of play because he wasn't refereeing, officiating in the first week, but of course it's just a long tournament. You do get referees coming in. He's flown in from Malta, of course, where he lives. Kind of rolling away from his spot ever so slightly, and it is an important call because the pink is or isn't potable to the left corner, depending on where that ends up.
$25.
Well, the pink clearly is causing a few problems. The pink spot, there can be an indentation. Of course, you wouldn't think after not very long that the cloths have been on that would happen. Because you do see that in on tables in the club. The black spot, almost like a crater in there where the ball just sinks into the spot because the cloths have been on for like months, sometimes years. So that always ends up rolling back onto the spot. But on these tables that are recovered all the time, that shouldn't be an issue. But of course, he's just checking it. But now that red's potted, or well, he may not pot it actually. But when the red by the pink is potted, that problem won't be there.
37.
'Cause it will just go anyway.
It's a golden chance for 3-0, and then Maguire's really under it in the early stages of this first session. Just magnifies the importance of the tight frames, the ones that go to the wire. Maguire was looking good for one each. He's part of the match then, settled into it. Levelling things up now, suddenly he's facing a 3-frame deficit.
45. $51. 52. 58. 59.
Well, he's almost there. And the right-hand red, I think, will go just about where the cue ball is now.
$65.
Frame ball. What a start from Dave Gilbert.
66.
It's already a couple of snookers, but Maguire's not going to get the chance, I don't think. Not the start he had in mind. Gilbert has looked very sharp. Tremendous clearance in the previous frame. And he's taken these extremely well. He's never looked in trouble.
No, and again, that cue just comes right off the bridge. And it's a bit disconcerting. But it is after the shot's played, so I don't suppose it matters. It just looks odd on the power shots.
70.
But I think, as you point out, frame two is the real hurtful one. Either side of it, he's played some nice shots. Made some good breaks. And Maguire, I've noticed, keeps looking across at the other table. I don't know if his concentration is bad or he just doesn't
76.
want to be any part of what his opponent is doing. He's watching now, but he was looking across quite a lot to the other table, past the partition.
Gilbert had beat David Lilley and Zhao Guodong to qualify before the high drama of the Bruxelles win from 3 down with 4 to play.
83.
Now closing in on what would be a 7th century at this World Championship, including the qualifiers. Good pot required here, though. Never easy with the extensions. And he's overcut it, so no century. But 83 will do just as well for Dave Gilbert. What a start to the quarter-final he's made. Stephen Maguire urgently needs a response. Gilbert, 3-0 up.
Frame 4. Stephen Maguire to back.
The final frame before the first interval, one that Stephen Maguire badly needs. Their 6th meeting, Maguire having won 3 of the previous 5, but he hasn't beaten Gilbert since the German Masters 9 years ago. They've only played once since then. As mentioned, that was a win at the Masters for Gilbert in the quarters, 2020. So this meeting, long overdue. They haven't played a lot.
Yeah, we'd like to have hit the other side of that green, obviously, and pushed it over the right top pocket. Very fine shot. One he didn't have to play,
5.
but he decided to just very casually roll that brown in. And look at the red he's played on here. The one below the pink. Goodness, he's away. He's played 2 excellent shots to start this, the red and then the brown, they're just dropping the balls in. It's terrific to watch. Little cannon here on the two reds.
He missed the pink in the opening frame to the right centre and then missed that easy green when the frame was technically won. Maguire needed a snooker, but everything else has gone in from Gilbert. He's at 94% with his pot success at the moment. Completely monopolising the table. Maguire didn't score in the previous frame.
$14.
Well, it's a good opening. The two reds is not a simple plant. He hasn't really come to look at the red to right middle yet, which is definitely an option. Or a couple to the left middle, perhaps even more so. I think he's going to have to play a red to middle. The plant is not nice. As Philip pointed out, he did miss that pink to middle, the opposite middle to this. Of course, worth remembering that when he pinched frame 2, he dropped a black in there at a very acute angle.
And what a chance he's created for himself here to inflict more misery on that man. Stephen Maguire facing a mini-session whitewash here, given the state of the table.
27.
Could all have been so different if he'd clinched that second frame. Found himself snookered on the last couple of reds without any insurance colour on a side cushion to save him. Gilbert cleared brilliantly and is now eyeing a 4-0 lead.
33. $34. $41. 42.
Bit of a noise on the other table, but it's not enough to put him off. Because the black ball highest available was just the green spot. It's been an outstanding contribution, this, but he now has just slightly fallen out of position.
$52. $53. $59.
Steve Maguire, I think, pretty much resigned to his fate here. Made a 63 break, of course, in the second frame that brought him to the cusp of winning it, but didn't land on one of the last two reds. Then found himself snookered. And how superbly has Dave Gilbert played from that moment. The clearance for 2-0.
66.
The 80-plus contribution in the previous frame, and now this. So well engineered initially. Some difficult pots to negotiate. Just looking to put the finishing touches to the perfect session for him. And the chance to build a commanding lead at the end of this first session of 8. Maguire needs the interval to regroup.
73. $74.
And when he is in full flow, he is one of the best players to watch, Gilbert. He's got that lovely flowing cue action we talk about. Gets on with it.
I just keep thinking about the brown ball he knocked in at the start of the break. You know, he cue ball on the side cushion. Most players, I think, would have touched in behind the green, or I don't know. I mean, it was such a brave shot, and he dropped it in, played on a key red, and has not looked back since.
87. $88.
He's going to need a good pot on that red if he is to make his 20th Crucible century.
$94.
Very nicely done, and what a break. What a session for Dave Gilbert. It's been an indifferent couple of seasons for him, but he's found something at the World Championship again. And he's playing superbly.
It's a fabulous break. I mean, there's no such thing as a
101.
bad century, but this break has been from nothing, just about. The thin red to middle, the brown I mentioned. And since then, he just carved out a lovely break. It's very good.
106.
Maguire reduced to spectator since he lost the tight second frame. It's been all Gilbert.
110.
I'm sure Gilbert would love to stay out there rather than go off for a 15-minute break. Maguire needs it. So often in this championship already, we've seen mid-session intervals turn sessions around. Maguire will certainly hope that's the case this time, because Dave Gilbert's all over him at the moment. What a start from Gilbert. He leads at the first break by 4 frames to 0.
Thank you. Frame 5. David Gilbert to break.
Dave Gilbert has had a dream start to this quarter-final. For Stephen Maguire, big repair job on his hands in the second half of this opening session. Gilbert 4-0 to the good, and he's played superbly. In the last 2 frames, he's made breaks of 83 and 110, but perhaps the most significant frame so far, the second. He stole it with a brilliant clearance on Maguire, who'd made a 63 break. Looks set to level at 1-1, and since then, he's not really had a look in. Didn't score a point in the last 2 frames. So he'll hope that the mid-session interval can bring about a change in momentum. And that's a good result.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's played that poorly. As you say, that frame he should have certainly won. It was a great steal, but generally an outstanding performance so far from David Gilbert.
Foul. Miss. Stephen Maguire, 4.
For a second, I thought he was going to actually go into the black of all the balls to hit down there. He's just trying to bury that cue ball behind the red. I'm not sure Maguire played him behind the green on that last shot, but I think he probably played a safety shot to the cushion. So often you don't see them played when they get in behind a colour on that shot, but people think it is as planned. It's close to the black again here. Just hit the red first. Terrific shot. So maybe the Maguire challenge in this quarter-final can start here. He's drawn a blank so far.
Seven. Eight.
Camilleri still having issues with that pink spot. There seems to be some sort of indentation in the cloth, which means that it's not spotting as easily as it should anyway. This is a very decent chance for Maguire, albeit that he can't use the black in this break.
15.
And he's got the pink, the reds are open. He'll be targeting a 3-1 mini-session victory. Anything better than that would be a huge bonus, but that would mean he's only 2 adrift going into this evening's resumption. A 6-2 deficit would be a very difficult one to claw back. Not impossible by any means, but it would certainly put him on the back foot. Yeah, there's
20.
definitely an issue with that pink spot.
22.
There's plenty
28.
in open play here. You have to start somewhere, and I think generally Maguire is in form. I mean, he did make that break that Philip mentioned, 63, which didn't take him over the line. Here's the problem, it just rocks back into a small indentation all the time. That pink.
$35.
Well avoided of the red on the left.
$42. $43.
That was an excellent pot. Didn't have a full pocket to aim at. Had to be spot on, otherwise it would have caught the jaw and stayed out. So this has been a good response from Maguire. No sense of panic about the scoreline. And as Neal said, it's not as though he's played poorly. It's been much more to do with how well Gilbert has played.
$50.
Well, would you believe it? Just as he was getting into a position to clinch the frame, shades of the second frame with Maguire making a break but not getting over the line. And it's a pink again, which Gilbert missed, of course, in the first frame into that pocket.
Indeed. It won't mean anything unless Gilbert does take advantage. It's a very hard table to say that he will.
One.
He made a good start, though, getting the right angle on the blue. You know, all you can do is chip away. Pink and black where they are. You get the feeling it's devilishly difficult to do much here. But I tell you, if he was to, if he were to sort of come back and take this frame, I don't know what it would mean in the context of a match. That's okay, a long match, but you can't keep on stealing frames or having frames stolen from you. Yes, he's playing on the black because while it's not easy, it brings that high-value ball back in play. Now, Maguire will be praying that he misses this, and it will just be possible alarm over. He's not missed that. That's always in. So the alarm bells must be ringing in the mind of Stephen Maguire right now. He looks fairly calm sitting there, but I'm sure he doesn't feel it inside. He knows Gilbert's playing, it seems, well enough to even take these, but it would be a clearance and a half. Very different one to the John Higgins one last night, but I think Higgins' clearance was more the context, you know, the double and the red down the cushion. Nothing else was actually technically difficult in the break, but it was a phenomenal effort. This, in some ways, is more difficult without the complete jeopardy at the end of it.
$21.
This time he's not perfect on this. Now, what does he do? Can he hold the spot? I wonder. And the blue then goes on the pink spot. Might be an idea. Yeah, So onto the pink spot with the blue. I don't know if he's thinking about rolling this in and chipping the other red out. This would be a lovely shot if he does play it. Don't know if it's on. No, he didn't try that. Getting a little close for comfort, isn't it, for Maguire? This break is increasing. Just made it. Didn't put it cleanly.
34.
So running it through and then running the black in behind the red, all of these things are very gettable, but the black won't be a simple shot.
35.
Would he consider knocking the pink out here? Could be that it's on his mind to do so. Yeah, no, he tried.
$42.
Another big shot. And this time he's missed it, and that will be a huge relief to Stephen Maguire, who missed a relatively routine pink when he was on the cusp of clinching the frame. Had that gone in, Gilbert could have been in for another steal. As it is, Maguire has a second chance to get his first frame of the quarter-final.
Yeah, I mean, he showed a lot of accuracy at shots along the cushion, hasn't he, already? That one just off. It was close, it was never quite there. Maguire deciding to play safe, if you like, and play down the table on the choice of bulk colours, because that gave him better options. That would have been a huge moment, I think, in this session anyway. Had Maguire lost this frame.
4.
So he needs yellow, green and brown.
Six.
He's got to worry about the pink here. We're leaning across and the pink is definitely under his waistcoat. And Terry Camilleri will be watching out for that, because that is one possible way this could go wrong. It's amazing, this game, isn't it, how things are there to test you. A straightforward clearance, but now, because he didn't play that yellow quite right, he's got to do something to avoid making a waistcoat foul on the pink.
Terry trying to get a close look at things. Green and brown needed.
9.
And he's played it perfectly well, so this ball to finally register a frame. And he would have been concerned before Gilbert missed along the rail with the rest. It's about the only mistake Gilbert has made since the Aaron Pink in frame 1. This is it. Not easy, clearly, but he's knocked a few in like this.
80.
And Maguire has gratefully accepted his second chance. Three more frames to come in session 1. Steve Maguire has a foothold, but Dave Gilbert's still in charge here at the Crucible. He leads by 4 frames to 1. Steve Maguire breaking off in frame 6 and feeling a whole lot better for getting the 5th frame on the board. They play their second session this evening. They play to a finish tomorrow afternoon. 13 remains the target to get to the semi-finals. Gilbert going for his second, Maguire is third, 12 years after his second.
Well, the Brown comes to his rescue. Got quite close to this. Of course, the closer you get, then it's meant to be a shot to nothing, but it isn't really very often when the red doesn't come away from the pocket itself. But maybe that plant will be something that interests him. I think he had a look at it. I mean, it's by no means easy, that. Maguire is looking for the same cover. I think he's received it. He's lucky there. Probably even luckier than Gilbert was in the first place, because the angle he's coming in towards it is unlikely to get cover. But now it might have just forced Gilbert into playing this plant. I think the cue ball's in the right spot. It's, to the right of being a straight shot on the two reds. The cue ball being up the table. If he doesn't play, I don't know what else he could play, and it is a very attacking shot, but tough. Yeah, he didn't fancy it, clearly. He thought he'd just play that containing shot.
That's not a great safety. Maguire shaking his head as he drags himself back to his chair. So, an opportunity for Gilbert if he can slot this long red in. 5 out of 7 so far from long range in this match. Right in the middle. Wants that cue ball to pull up, and he's okay.
5. Six. Seconds.
Well, this is no fun, is it, for Terry Camilleri? Seeing if that pink goes in there. I think it will by the looks of things, but of course now he's got to put the red back there.
The pink has been something of a star of the show in this session. We've seen a couple missed. The one from Maguire could have been significant before Gilbert failed to pop that red along the side rail, which might have led to 5-0. And of course we've had issues with spotting it because of slight indentation in the cloth, it would appear.
Now it's got to go in there now, you see. It's kind of... I wonder if it makes Terry wish he hadn't bothered coming over from Malta in the first place, something like this, because it looks all very stressful to me. All very stressful. He's got it in there, it just grazed the pink. Who'd be a referee? Definitely not me.
A warm hand from the audience, appreciating the steady hand required.
13.
Well, it was a loose safety that left Gilbert the chance from long range. Can he make the most of it and in the process guarantee himself a first session lead with the chance to make it a sizable one?
20.
Yeah, a very delicate shot to hold, because clearly there's no need to go up for the blue. Want to stay in amongst the big action around the black spot. Playing nicely, isn't he? Beautiful player. Almost a forgotten about player for a while, I think.
28.
Yes, he won the Championship League. It was a ranking event, but I'll be honest, if you could pick a ranking event, you wouldn't be picking that one to be your first, because it isn't really as high profile as some of the others. That's just a fact. If you enter it, anyone wants to win it. Anyway, that's now gone a little awry there.
36.
He wanted to catch that red fuller than he did.
The biggest disappointment in that regard was the World Open final in 2018. He was 4 up with 5 to play against Mark Williams, but Williams turned it around, and he was also 7-5 up on Kyron Wilson in the final in Berlin. Lost the last 4. That's well played.
It's beautiful cueing. Beautiful cueing. Yeah, I mean, he's been a bit of a nearly man, but as I say, the Championship League that he won was something, but not everything.
Led Higgins 12-7, 14-11 and 16-15 in the semi-final.
44.
He's not played a good shot there, because he could have gone further on that than... He could have overscrewed, and he would have been on the top red of the two to the same right middle. He's kind of landed in an area short of where he wanted to be. So now he's just got to play this next shot, which is something of a recovery. He missed a pink early on into that pocket. Not dissimilar to this sort of shot. Just stayed on the far lip. Didn't cost him because clearly he won the frame.
$47. $48.
Well, he's given himself an invitation there, an open invitation to get these reds in play if he wants to, depending on what is available from that left side. But it must be tempting to just nudge these because he's absolutely perfect on it. Blue to do so. Very nice. Very classy. The fact that he just hit it at that sort of measured pace, the reds really did open out beautifully.
54.
You saw Steve Maguire muttering under his breath after he realised he'd left Gilbert the long-range red with a loose safety. And this is why he was cross. It looks like costing him the frame. This is terrific stuff again from Gilbert. He's hardly put a foot wrong in this match.
61.
Picking up where he left off in that trouncing of Rob Milkins for the loss of only 4 frames.
62.
Well, now there's a strange shot. I mean, he could hold for the pink or play it with more pace. The natural shot looks to me to land behind the blue there. And of course, he's got to prepare himself for an unexpected visit to the table, Maguire. Because this now, it becomes a missable shot. And if he did miss it, he'd be very annoyed. He didn't play a proper shot on the red. He played neither one thing nor t'other. Very good. He had every reason to be so disappointed about that last shot that he could have missed that.
And look at the table if he had. Nothing safe.
68.
He could even have made a case for Maguire being favourite had he missed, but he didn't miss. It was frame ball. This to make sure.
69.
And what a session this is proving to be for Dave Gilbert. At the outset, I think most people felt this was very tough to call, could well go to the wire. It may yet, but Gilbert has undoubtedly been much the stronger player. He's scored heavily. His long game has been in good fettle. Maguire's only joy the previous frame, and even that one could have gone awry. Every chance now of a second century of this session. And this is the safety that Maguire played, which left the red over the corner. Not safe at all, as it turned out.
89. 90. $97.
Can't beat his best Crucible break. That was a 139 the year that he made the semi-finals, but this is terrific. His 21st Crucible century, nodding approval from many of the fans inside the Crucible for the quality of Dave Gilbert's snooker.
105. 108.
And this is very reminiscent of his run to the last four 5 years ago.
112. 117. 123.
For a total clearance. Brilliant from Dave Gilbert. A 130 as he turns the screw on Stephen Maguire and extends his lead to 5-1.
Frame 7. David Gilbert to break.
Two more frames to come then, and Steve Maguire badly needs both, really. 6-2 behind would be a big deficit. Anything worse than that, he'd be in the soup in a big way, so needs a response. He's just been comprehensively outplayed so far. He hasn't done all that much wrong. He missed the pink in the frame he did win, which obviously proved in the end irrelevant, but it's been mainly about the quality of Gilbert. One safety error in the previous frame proved to be his last shot. Gilbert with his second century. That's not the best either. The red goes. Oh, maybe it doesn't. Just for a moment, it looked as though he might be able to pop that into the centre, but happily for Maguire, he didn't leave it. He could have done.
Played another neat safety shot there, if you see. I mean, sometimes these shots go unnoticed, but, you know, just taking the cue ball past the green, that means that right side of the bunch is blocked off. He's not got much access to the left side either, so, I mean, Gilbert is ticking all the boxes this session. Winning all the wars out there.
Foul. David Gilbert, 4.
Just can't get going at the moment, Maguire, but it's not that he's played poorly. Gilbert's played very well. I think that's the real story of this session.
Dave Gilbert's pot success is at 96 at the moment. That is outstanding.
1.
A raise at the eyebrows once again for Maguire as Gilbert gets back in.
Six.
rare mistake from Gilbert, and an in-off to go with it.
Foul. David Gilbert 6.
Doesn't appear to have done any
Stephen
great
Maguire,
damage.
4.
That red is very tight to the top rail, just undercut it.
Just looking at those reds above the black, are they in line to the left corner? I think he feels they are. I think he's going to go that near them here. Yeah, you could see his intentions there in behind yellow. It's a difficult shot to execute, but all the time, you know, he's making things difficult for this man, Glaswegian. That's a massive error from Maguire. That is a huge mistake. No emotion, but trust me, he'll be disgusted with that last shot.
One.
We saw no little emotion at times in the matches against Carter and Murphy. Maybe Maguire needs to gee himself up a bit. He's being comprehensively outplayed at the moment.
Six. Seven. Ten. Eleven.
Well, this would be, you know, a serious lead, wouldn't it? I mean, obviously at the moment, if Maguire could win the next two and 5-3, then make it 5-3 going into tonight, then it's not so bad. But for 6-1, then you are talking about an even bigger lead, and then very big and hard to turn it around, actually. Might be looking at the pink here because of the lack of angle on that blue.
David Gilbert, 18.
1 or 2 errors in this frame. A big frame for Maguire because, as Neal says, 5-3 would be a good result for him. He's been completely outplayed, and if he's only 2 behind, there's plenty of time to get back into it. 6-2 or worse. That's a big ask. Finally breaks that 26 minutes without a pot.
Seven.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a spell in a World Championship if you're going to go deep into it where you're going to have to dig yourself out of a hole. Maybe a session that you can't win. All you can do is limit the damage, and that's where Maguire is at right now. I mean, the balls could hardly be better, but he's still got to do this.
15.
Thank you, the 7th.
16. Twenty-three. Twenty-four.
These reds lined up beautifully down the centre of the table here.
31.
No, just double checking that middle red. Does it go? It looks quite tight, actually. He's not sure about it. That's the one he'd really like to play, but he's actually finished on sort of a bit of an angle on the other two. This is, of course, no problem. Just a little soft screw up for the pink.
32.
A rare error from Gilbert, playing the red off the pink. He missed it into this left corner to let Maguire in.
$38. 39. 46. $47.
Maguire's highest break of this session, 63 in that all-important second frame, which Gilbert won on the black with a great clearance.
Ever so slightly acute angle.
54.
He's okay. The fact that he's behind it fairly much squarely, you know, that helps matters, but red, blue, and up the table, presumably for the other red. Might be the best way to go. He can't afford to hit this too hard and risk missing it. So
55.
the angle is to take him up to the red in bulk. Screw between, I would think, green and brown here. Get close to it. They've gone, if you like, the safe route, which is to get the other side of it. He's a bit further away now, but this is
60.
the one he needs. He knows this is frame ball, I think. So this has to drop. Oh, goodness me, it hasn't dropped. Well, now.
Stephen Maguire, 60.
Bit of a plot twist here. And you can't say that he took a liberty with it. Sometimes players will just play it with too much pace, but he's tried to just drop it in, and it's still on the table.
This has become a mammoth frame. It was looking like 5-2, with Maguire then having the opportunity to emerge from this session relatively unscathed. And now he's got to hope that Gilbert doesn't punish.
Yes, he's trying to look calm, isn't he? As if this is not hurting him, but it might be in about 3 or 4 minutes. If he clears up, he will be absolutely reeling over this frame going. But he's still got to do this, so clearly it's not easy. But if he lands from blue in behind red, then where can it go wrong? Apart from the pressure of the situation. This next shot will tell us a lot more. Good enough.
6. Seven.
Very awkward moments these for Steve Maguire. Looked to be a fairly straightforward frame ball red, which he just tried to
12.
cozy to the pocket, but it stayed out. Further evidence that these corner pockets of the World Championship this year are unforgiving.
15.
But what a difference it could make. Gilbert in for his second black ball steal of the session.
If you remember, of course, in frame 5, he was clearing up to pinch that frame, wasn't he? Got to about 42, and then missed a red down the cushion. But for that, you know, he could have won all of these frames. He's got to ensure that he doesn't fall at the last hurdle here.
24.
Well, it's okay. He's not dead straight, but even then it's absolutely fine. What a turnaround this is.
Stephen Maguire will be livid. No emotion, but internally, surely he'll be feeling sick. Gilbert just pulling out of the shot to regroup. He knows the significance of this for a 5-frame lead with 1 frame to come in this session. And in it goes. Another huge steal from Dave Gilbert. His second black ball steal of the session. And Stephen Maguire is now in a world of pain and trouble. 6-1 down.
Frame 8. Last one for the session. Stephen Maguire to break.
Stephen Maguire has been somewhat subdued in this session in terms of his body language, which is normally very evident, particularly when things aren't going to plan. They certainly haven't been in this session so far. Perhaps he needs to get angry. He's got to summon something now for this final session, this final frame of the session, I should say, because 7-1 behind. That would take an awful lot of retrieving. 6-2 is precarious enough.
Yeah, I mean, the last frame was absolutely painful for Maguire. I mean, he did everything right, except instead of rolling the ball in the pocket, it stayed over the hole. And it must have been agony watching that clearance. And like you say, you know, 7-1 is an absolute rout in a match between two players that seemed very equally matched, to be honest. A beautiful safety shot, you know. I mean, all of the facets of this game, everything's working, isn't it? All the aspects of it all. Really well worked around the angles.
Oh, it's another cracker. That's 8 out of 10 from Gilbert from long range. An outstanding return. It's been a pretty potent mix from Gilbert. He's been scoring heavily, 2 centuries, his long potting in great shape. He's just completely outplaying Maguire at the moment. He needs to fire himself up, but of course at the moment there's nothing he can do.
5.
Just got to hope for a chance, but the reds are spread invitingly. The colours are available. Another chance for Gilbert to cement what would be a nigh-on perfect session for him.
6. $13. $14.
Oh, what a chance. What a chance. He must be in dream world with this morning session into the early afternoon. How it's shaping up is... I don't think I've seen him play better than this. He's barely missed anything of any note. You know, pot success is right up there, isn't it? 96%. You know, that's top draw, and just needs to maintain it for a little bit longer.
22.
And he's had the perfect session of snooker.
$29. $30.
Bit of a hindrance, that red that's just by the black. I don't know. I haven't seen it from a couple of angles. If it does pot anywhere, they do well to keep on making this break, but it's still there all the way through. But I suspect nothing goes. Certainly not the red anyway, into either corner. So close to the black. Wouldn't go on that evidence.
$37.
Well, because the red doesn't go into the left corner, the one above the black, you can play a red to middle, safe in the knowledge that he can't leave that red. But if he gets it, of course, he's on the black. Just.
38.
No, I don't think he believed that was in, because he was walking back. And then when it did drop, he sort of held his hand up and say, sorry if I got you interested there. Now he can move the red.
$45. $46.
Well, he didn't want to push the black, of course, too close to the bottom cushion, which means now this is just a slightly missable shot, if anything is at the moment for this man. Yeah. So he can miss.
David Gilbert.
He does occasionally make mistakes, but you could kind of sense that one was in the offing. And now, you know, as Maguire got it, he's been on the receiving end. Can he pull anything out of the wreckage here?
One.
We're so used to Stephen Maguire getting fired up. We saw plenty of evidence of that against Ali Carter and Sean Murphy. He's looked a little subdued today, but of course a lot of that is to do with the quality of Dave Gilbert's snooker. Can he now get himself a foothold in this match? 6-2 is far from great, but it's a whole lot better than 7-1. Fast start this evening, things could change if he could win this frame.
7. Eight. $15.
This is a tester, given the state of the match at the moment for Maguire. He strokes it in nicely.
It was. You could have seen that missed on a different day. It must be hard because deep inside he must be so upset the way, or fed up the way the session's gone. You know, you lose the session either way, and just a question of by how many. That's where it's difficult. But it's not quite over this frame.
18.
Particularly that previous frame, of course, when he missed frame ball. Yes, this is another test to pass for Maguire in his bid to close the gap to 4. Well played.
Yeah, and you feel that immediately your eyes are drawn to that red on the right of the table, aren't they? And you think, well, this is all about that. Of course, he's a right-hander, so down the cushion, if all else fails and he can't knock it into play, is a possibility. Don't think he would have played to knock it out there, you know. I know he got very close to hitting it, but even if he had hit it at that pace, it wouldn't have gone very far.
$26. $31.
Goodness. And for the first time, signs of
Maguire,
real
31.
frustration from Maguire. He was ready to burst there.
Well, he was incandescent with rage, and he nearly put his cue through that red on the right there, which would have been some kind of concession, which would have been expensive in more ways than one. So, yeah. That was a sign of the pressure of playing here. Just at one point, though, I mean, that red on the right that Maguire nearly launched onto the floor is now required at least by Gilbert. So there's just a glimmer of hope for the man at the who's absolutely seething in the minute. Just keeps on playing good shots, doesn't he? All the time.
No words necessary.
I mean, he was looking up towards the commentary box, and you wonder what people are saying about your kinds, don't you? You know, he's had a bad afternoon, well, morning session.
Gilbert still got to make him pay for that miss just now.
Needs an angle. Needs an angle. Straight is no good.
5.
Can just manoeuvre the cue ball across. Oh, he's played it really well, hasn't he? He really has. So, I think the red going in, 27 in it then, that means at least the worst that can happen is a respot. So you're going to see this red in, and the colour's absolute bonus. Yeah,
Well,
played it gently. And, well, if Gilbert had won it at the first visit, it would have been one thing, but with Maguire getting his chance, it makes it even worse for him. 27 in it, though.
David Gilbert, 12.
So, again, just faltering a little bit here.
Drama at the end of the session. He'll be disappointed to have missed that one. He knows the significance of this frame after Maguire's miss on the red. Maguire still up against it. Of course, the best he can do is force the extra black. Unless he gets a snooker, that is. But it's a chance he wouldn't have expected to get, to salvage something from the wreckage of this session.
Well, ball's going in all different directions there, none of them as planned. Pushing the yellow safe possibly can hide that cue ball behind the black here, but priority has to be getting the yellow up the table, so into a safe place.
It's been a difficult morning for sure for that man, but if he does win this frame, it just gives him a way back into this match potentially, and you can be sure that Dave Gilbert, as well as he's played, will be fuming if he doesn't clinch a 7-1 lead, having had that black, which was all he needed to leave Maguire requiring snookers. Might just plant that seed of doubt in Gilbert's mind that he's let his opponent off the hook.
Yes, it seemed obvious that he was going to play it cushion first there, but he felt he could get to enough of the yellow to keep things safe. And it's kind of in between this shot for Maguire. He can't get separation between the cue ball and object ball very easily on this shot.
Maguire's got to be careful, of course. Gilbert only needs the yellow. Maguire would need snookers. He's played that well, though.
Very good. And again, whatever he plays here, he can't be absolutely sure, if he's not rolling up to the yellow, of keeping the ball safe. Wow. Goodness, that really is the only thing that could have gone wrong, was that. He's hit so much of the yellow, he's pushed the black out as well. So now we are looking towards a re-spot here, re-spotted black. Still got to take these, but I mean, don't see how this can go wrong, quite honestly. Famous last words. Maybe the cue ball, he doesn't want to overrun and go behind the black from this.
Nine.
Oh, goodness me, he nearly did, you know. That really would, I don't know what happened had he gone beyond there. I really don't know how that would have ended, but it wouldn't have ended well.
A snapped cue, perhaps. He can smile about it now, but needs position on this pink.
Well,
he did not play that. He did not play that, and he knows it. He's muttering. Couldn't have finished better.
It's only the first session, but Steve Maguire is already hanging on a bit in this match. He desperately needs this frame. He shouldn't have had the chance to win it. But he's now going to get that chance, courtesy of an extra black. High drama to finish this opening session. Dave Gilbert misframe ball black. Maguire has cleared the colours. And so we go to the tie-break black to determine whether it's going to be a 7-1 lead or just 6-2.
This. Sure. Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, Steve Maguire, I think, won the toss. The coin seemed to go on the floor, but either way, he's decided to go here. I don't know whether the possibility of this black going to right middle is on. Cocked at double maybe, but even then it may not be quite there. Definitely tried it. It's a good shot, but it is a slightly dangerous shot, you know. I mean, clearly the in-off was not out of the picture. Well, Respot, he's always quite good fun to watch, but not all that much fun to be involved in. You know, it would be odd, wouldn't it, if Gilbert could only led this session 6-2. Well, you know, when you think that that would be a highly satisfactory, I mean, he would have been thrilled with that, but not at the point where he's 27 in front and he's got a black to guarantee a 7-1 lead. Same thing happened against Milkins, who made a miraculous clearance in the last frame of their session to make the match a bit closer. This is textbook safety, that is exactly as planned. It's a good duel, this.
Full 12 feet.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an absolutely brilliant battle on this respot. I mean, the safety has been immaculate to the point where it hardly gets any better than that, where the balls are. Now, hard to be sure of leaving this safe. He needs just to slow down a bit. Well, I don't know if that cuts in. It's a skinny one if it does.
Make no mistake, Gilbert will be frustrated, to put it mildly, if he loses this frame, which was well within his grasp.
The problem here is very thin, as I mentioned, and you know, that cue ball, you can't control it. I mean, if he potted this and went in off, I think I'd run for cover if I was in the arena.
Oh, goodness. Just too thick. Double kiss. It's all happening.
Thank you. Settle down, please.
The double kiss is absolutely... He's made things worse, really. He got back into this frame when he looked like he wanted to concede it with 3 reds left, and just taking it to a respot and losing it just rubs salt into the wounds, isn't it?
What a session for Dave Gilbert. He's played extremely well. 2 centuries, 3 steals on the final black, including the respot. It's been a miserable opening for Steve Maguire, who needs a big effort when they come back tonight to have a chance of clawing his way back into contention. Gilbert looking great and leading by 6 at 7 frames to 1.